Welcome to the second part of the SQS and STS demo. So we will continue the coding part in this video. So let's go and look into the Intellij IDE. So where my programs are running, let me stop them. Yeah. Now, so this is the structure I have. If you see, um, I have a package AWS configuration, which is having the bean configuration, which were required, and a receiver, which is under a service, and application and a controller. Controller I'm using to send a message to SQS, and the receiver I'm using to listen to any messages from SQS. So let's go by the configuration. Let's start with this class. So here we need to get the AWS credential provider where it is using the user access key and secret key to get the temporary token using the STS AssumeRole, which is here. So the details you would need to create this bean are like you have created a username John, right? Let me go back and tell you there. So users John, go to the security credential. You can see this is access key ID, right? While you create a new access key ID, you will get the um, a secret key. So secret key will not be visible afterwards. So while you are creating, you should note that down. I'm gonna make this one as inactive. Okay, I'm using this access key ID, and it's a secret. So this is setting up the SDK global configuration to use this username and the secret. And another provider with the STS credential. So the STS is going to use the assume role. This one. This is the assume role it's going to use, right? So let me minimize this. So I'm creating another provider. So first one is the environment variable credential provider, which is of the user. Another provider is the STS credential provider. I'm adding both into AWS credential provider chain. AWS, if you know about AWS credential providers chain, it will be useful. I believe. Let me go to the Java doc and let's read its description. AWS credential provider implementation that chains together multiple credential providers. When a call first requests credential from this provider, it calls all the providers in the chain in the original order specified until one can provide credential and then returns those credentials. So it's going to use the chain where we have the environment credential provider chain. So this will be used to get the STS credential provider, and so STS credential provider will finally give us the temporary secret and access, right? So I have a logger here which will be printing the access key and the secret key which we will receive from STS. So we will see that while running. So this is the beauty of AWS credential provider chain. So this above code I have given, this will be available in the Git repository. You can refer. So this one will just return the STS credential for a single time. So this provider chain, whenever the STS credential expires, it automatically calls using the chain, which is given in the global configuration, and get the temporary access key and the secret. So we don't have to call it again and again. The refresh will happen in the background. So this class will take care of that. This is for getting the STS credential provider. So let's move to the next bean. So this is to get the SQS client. So just a simple bean where we are getting the Amazon SQS Async thing by using the region and the credential provider. We need to mention this credential provider, this function we are mentioning here. So with this STS credential, we are getting a Amazon SQS Async object. Okay, so this is one bin. Then a message template we have to create for the SQS client which we are creating here. So this message template will give us a handle to send and receive the message from SQS. So to do operation over the SQS. So convert and send like you would have seen in JMS. So this message template will give us the bean to do that. Queue messaging template. The next bean is to handle the configuration of the SQS. So we are having the SQS client referred, which is this bean referred here, and it's setting with the configuration like visibility timeout. We are setting the visibility timeout to 3000 milliseconds, so 3 seconds. That's it. You can ignore this KMS. I will cover it in the next section. Now we will see the controller. So this is a REST controller where we have auto-wired the messaging template. This as a messaging template bean. This bean will be needed when we are trying to send a message into SQS. So here we are invoking the convert and send. This is actually a post mapping where we will have send message as a URI path. So we are reading the request body, which is just a string. We are reading the message and pushing it into the queue destination, which is my SQS queue name, as you have seen in the AWS console, and just returning a response entity with HTTP status OK, which is 200. So we will call this post request from Postman. We will see that while we're running. We start up this application and message receiver. As we have controller to send the message, we have a receiver here to receive the message from the SQS queue. So here you can see the deletion policy set to never. It will the never the queue messages which after read they will not be deleted. They will never be deleted. This is SQS listener coming from the Spring Boot library actually. So Spring Boot library giving us the this annotation, and it gives us the payload annotation, acknowledgement object, and headers as well. Header is a map where if you add any headers while sending a message, then those things can be read from this header map. Payload, SQS returns the messages whatever it receives as a string only. So you're just going to receive it as a string, and if you want to convert it as JSON, then you will have to use other libraries to Jackson libraries to convert them into JSON. So just we are putting a logger here to display the message. That's it. And acknowledge function we are calling to remove the message once it's read. And in case of any exception, we are removing the message again. So this is simple listener. And we will see the form.xml. What are the libraries would be required for this? So I created this project from Spring Initializer where I used the version 2.3.9 Spring Boot starter parent. And let me show you the Spring Initializer. So you can see 2.3.9, this is the one I have used, and added the dependencies and generated it. That's it. It will give you a zip file, and you can get a zip file with all these dependencies. And extra dependencies which I have added here is I needed STS SDK, so I added this dependency, and web I have added, and messaging. This is the Spring. This comes from Spring Cloud Framework. So Spring Cloud Starter, AWS messaging. This is what was giving us the SQS listener annotation, those kind of things, and that's it. You will not need anything else. Just the Spring Boot Starter, SDK for STS, web, and the AWS messaging. That's it. So these are the things you would need. Let's build and run this application. Build a success. Let me run this application. Yeah, while the bean is getting created, you can see, if you notice, the STS credential we have received already. It's in place and it's ready to. We are using this. We are ready to access the SQS. So let me stop and start again so that you will be able to notice that these temporary credentials are getting changed. Let's remember this last few digits, PIW, right? So let me rerun this. Yeah, you can see it's changed. It's using another temporary credential. So now time to run. We have a controller. So I'm going to invoke this post URI via Postman. So let's open the Postman and give the message, and it's raw, and we are going to just send a text. So it's using a text, and I'm returning just a sample message in the body and going to send it. Okay. So once I send, it's returning a response entity with 200 with this message, right? So I'm just sending it. You can see we have received 200 and the message. So the message has been sent to SQS, and we have received it. We have received as well. If you see, the message received at control sample message 1 and the received message from SQS. So it uses it. It has used the STS credential to connect to SQS and has got the message and displayed it. That's it. So let me send another message. Yeah, now we have received the same. And let's go into AWS SQS console and go to the monitoring section and see. Let me send one again. So let me send. Okay. So here I can see a number of messages received is 2. So it's coming here to the console and going out, right? So you can view that here. So all the 4 messages are received here. So that's I hope it clarified how we can use STS along with SQS. You can find the source available in the Git repository. So I have given the link in the description of this video. You can download and experiment this exercise, and it comes within the free tier of AWS. You will not be charged for using any of these services which I have demoed here. Thank you for watching, and if you have loved it, give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.